What's going on, Action Army?
What's happening, guys? Welcome to the show. Welcome to the official Action Army show.
Welcome to the most important hour of your life this week. If you're not watching this show, you're probably a Jackass or a Lions Den fan.
Yeah, guys, it's basically a fucking call to action. Just kidding, it's exactly what it is, okay? This is the intro to Call to Action. The single most important piece of content you're going to ingest in the next 7 minutes.
If you love Action Army and you love Ben and Drew, then this is the place to be. And if you don't love us, well, then fuck you.
Go buy a suit, get it fitted, get the pants tailored so the length is just right and the break of your pants looks fantastic, get a bottle of Jameson, and get on fucking board.
Peace out.
What's up, assholes? Welcome back to the Call to Action podcast. I'm James.
I'm Matt.
And I'm Danny.
And before we start, we have another new host to introduce to you guys. Little person, would you like to introduce yourself?
Hey, I'm Dylan Camacho. I'm here. I'm stoked to be here. I came in from, where do I even start on that? Longtime Action Army lurker, now here on the commentary. Very excited to be here. Big Schmoedown fans. That's how I started with Ben and Drew. They transitioned, saw them all in their AMA stuff, and just kept following the train. And next thing I know, I'm on a podcast talking about them to all the fans. Where do I begin on that other than Action Army? Ben's a fucking traitor. Welcome to the show.
Damn right!
And that's the show.
Mm-hmm.
Right. So, we're going to be recapping the Schmoedown Throwdown, and lucky for us patrons here, we have not seen any of these matches in 2 weeks. So let's hope this isn't a shit show, which it probably will be, but whatever. First things first, we have the Scream Queens and the Odd Couple. Before we start, these teams have sort of been like in the background recently. How do you guys feel about them, and who did you have like going into the match?
Odd Couple.
Yeah,
But I mean, I like Haley. I like Haley individually. I hope we see her singles soon.
One half of the Scream Queens.
Different team. Oh my god.
Yeah. One half of the Scream Queens is a fantastic thing, and it's nothing against the other. Nothing against Kaylin, but she just did not bring it to the show. I mean, it was Odd Couple's game to lose from the beginning, because it felt like pretty much 2-on-1 that whole match.
I'll say, because we are going to get into this whole idea of, Haley Fouch is up here and
Kaylin Corrigan?
Yeah. She's not even close.
Hey, once upon a time people compared Andrew and Ben that way. So
It's true.
Well,
I mean, we just may have not seen. I mean, Haley does work on the Collider, so I mean, we just don't know what she knows, individually.
Speaking of Ben, if you remember, Crazy 80 Grace played Who's the Boss in the first match of the Innergeekdom tournament.
Mm-hmm.
They got, I think, somewhere around 30 points in their first match.
That was like the closest
largely
match.
Haley.
Yep.
They almost lost that match.
Yeah, and I think it was the only first round Anarchy match that wasn't a TKO. And that speaks a lot to Haley's strength. I really think that she has a really good chance of being a more dominant presence in the Schmoedown. Just with a new teammate, maybe Stacey Howard, maybe Paulo Yama. It all depends on what Christian wants to do, but I think Haley deserves more time. I think we should probably talk about the match first. Before even the match started, we had a little preview stinger scene with Roxy, like, "Hey, I'm not here." And Snyder's like, "What the fuck happened?" Did it really matter?
No. It brings nothing of significance. I think that it's just she couldn't be there, and they were just wanting to have an excuse, and they want to just create more artificial drama between them and corruption, I think, at this point. Is that what I feel like anybody else?
Yeah, I don't even know what Roxy's involvement is in this match.
She manages the Odd Couple.
Yeah.
But
what they're trying to do is set up Grace Hancock to have like a greater presence. I'm not sure what it is next. I honestly have no idea because outside of just being like, hey, I'm gonna fuck y'all over. It's working pretty well just like that so far. I don't think it's gonna change much, but I think they're trying to set up something bigger.
Yeah, I think that'll be an interesting drama to develop between just having Grace come in and just literally fuck with everybody that's not corruption. But it's interesting to sit there and start with the Odd Couple. I think just maybe just because they're, well, at least Andrico being more of a face than anything. Snyder obviously just kind of playing it on whoever just wins for him at the time. But I think that just to create that dynamic where it says Grace is back, here is as much Grace as possible. And here are the obvious targets. It's just the first face team that happened to be playing, and that was the Odd Couple in that one.
And what is Nat? Nat, what do you think?
I think it's kind of like it feels kind of cheap the way they're trying to explain what happened to Roxy why she's not there. But I actually really like what they're doing with Grace. They're making her like kind of this evil, devious mastermind or whatever. I think she's a really great heel.
Yeah. Okay. So again, now we actually can getting into the match. The first round we had a 9-6 with Odd Couple in the lead. That feels really low. Is that just me?
It's a disappointment, actually. Yeah, I mean, especially on Draco, because he's been there before, and even Snyder has been like, on the winning Patriots at times when they were on hot streak. He can be good, but since that last, his last single match where he kind of just gave up and had that meltdown, like I don't think he's even really in it anymore.
Which meltdown?
All the above.
Actually, you know what? Fuck this. Speaking of meltdowns, Schmoedown.
That's what I would transition to.
Well, I gotta get this shit off my chest, man. How did this one dude being like, oh, fuck you, I'll run this page, turn into, hey, here's this totally independent fan group that was promoted on your show, tossed aside, fucking yeeted out the window to replace another group it was thriving. It was already going fine. It was going well. And you have to turn that into something that was already created. You're duplicating an already existing source that is going great. It's where you're getting most of the content of your fucking show, and you're throwing it aside for something that you can control. That's a load of horseshit.
Is it possible for it to be a coup if it's done by the powers in control?
I think it's more. How would I relate it? It's like the Roman Empire saying, "Hey, let's move our capital city elsewhere," and then the original capital city is going to shit because there's no one there to control it.
Yeah, I mean, yeah. You have a thing that's working the entire time, and they just said, yeah, let's just split the resources 50-50. We'll see how that goes, I guess. It does feel like a very redundant move at this point, but I mean, what the hell do I know? I'm just doing commentary on the whole damn thing, so.
Well, you can always change that if you get involved in the trivia leagues.
Yeah, I was just sad to see. All traces of the Schmoedown. I mean, Schmoeville gone.
Mm-hmm.
No more Cal. Cal's picture's deleted. That's fucked up.
It's not okay.
I was sad. That hurt.
I wouldn't go as far to say it's fucked up. It's more like I'm more of a questioning because they have the Rip John Steppen Rip Cal thing on the Schmoedown page. I'm wondering when that'll go away, if there's like a timeline for it. And
well, I think that was the backlash because I said, hey, where's the Cal picture gone? Where's Dylan's memorial? Because he was one of the original people for Box Office Breakdown and one of the original moderators, and even what's his name, Corey, whatever his name is. They basically exiled him from his own group, and then the group that he made, the unofficial Collider Live group,
which I'm an admin for. I'm an admin on that page, and the fact that I can't get into this new page because of some other dumbass fucking admin who banned me when he was drunk or whatever his fucking excuses. I don't think that this separation needs to exist. He can honestly just shut down the page. which, yeah, it's shitty. But then you're duplicating something which you already created in your show, which is not only causing confusion for fans, but also putting people like me in a bad position where I was running a perfectly good page, and you're suddenly taking away everything that I've done and saying, oh, it doesn't matter because it's not official when it was before.
Yep, and that's the show.
Mm-hmm.
Let's see. Round 2.
We have too many memes of Roxy's just staring at the dead space too on the page. I just wanted to say that.
Well, she should. I really hate that Rocky 5 bit too.
Mm-hmm.
I know, but it was just like overdone.
Yeah. At least it moved on from winning Goldfish here.
Can we get a montage video of just dead-eyed Collider crew just at all times? Christian's had so many, and now we got Roxy in there. It's just going to be all of them in a row. I want that as the new headline for Schmoeville, or formerly known as Schmoeville.
You know how for the Stream Junkies that when their own personal awards have like an in memoriam bit and it's all comedy.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
In memoriam Rocky 5 and just Rocky deadpanning into the camera. Just
yeah.
All right. Yeah. So moving on to round 2 of the actual match. Scream Queens, they are deferred to. It's been new releases. Get an 8 out of 12 and they have 2 points stolen from them. I think, unless I'm remembering pretty clearly, I think Haley carried this round as well.
It's always kind of hard to tell with teams, though, right? Because, the conferring and stuff like that. But just kind of at a glance while watching the match, you do see Haley be the first one to lean in, which gives the inclination that she's kind of carrying it. And it would make sense since she's on Collider constantly talking about the new releases. But also just based on watching Kaylin's first round, it's hard to give anybody credit but Haley in this match. This really wasn't even a team match, guys. Like, thinking about it, it was Jeff Schneider versus Haley Fouch with the occasional assist from Kaylin and Draco. Am I wrong?
No.
Not at all.
That was what surprised me because Andreyko would usually be the guy that.
Draco's not been the most solid in teams, though.
But not in teams.
No, I mean, he's fantastic in singles. We know he's a strong competitor, which is why we're so shocked. Because in teams and in any of the Odd Couple matches, like, they haven't knocked it out of the ballpark. For Schneider being, having his greatest runs in teams, being part of half of debatably the best team ever in the league. It's not even really debatable, honestly, at this point. And then with Andreyko being numerous times in contention for almost getting into a number 1 contender spot for the singles title, it just feels like that should make so much sense. But I don't know, that synergy is just lacking, despite the fact they have such great knowledge bases complementing each other. I just want to know what's going on there, because just team comes on and Draco's brain is just gone.
Yeah, I mean, Draco's never been the most consistent player. I mean, he lost to Makuga once. And I think the same could be said of Schneider. They're just
like Makuga can do a lot of shit that we just forget that he's done.
Yeah, he's been playing more. How many matches has he played? He's played like over 20 matches, like almost as much as John Roca himself. Because him and Riley, they've been like the originals guys from the beginning.
Before Guy was TKOing Merle, Makuga was just doing Makuga. Like,
and before we move on, the 2 questions they missed, once I can clear my phone of all this bullshit. What 2018 historical drama stars Oscar Isaac and Ben Kingsley? Yeah, and I mean, no judgment there. That's a movie that was in and out the movie that was out as quick as it was in.
Mm-hmm.
Doesn't matter. Surprised they got it. I'm more surprised that they got Assassination Nation, which would have cost me 2 repeats to get. That's a really fucking deep hole. And then in Ant-Man and the Wasp, who plays old friend and former lab assistant to Hank Pym?
That was a great pool, because I was thinking Lawrence Fishburne the entire time. Was it Lawrence Fishburne? I thought it wasn't.
No, it was.
That was him. He was playing Goliath.
They answered Forrest Whitaker, and they got it wrong.
Forrest Whitaker, that's right. Yeah. Well, they were close. I mean, I would get those 2 mixed up from time to time as well.
Oh, boy. First we hate women, now we're racist. This is a great podcast going on.
Welcome to the all-white podcast.
I mean, we haven't been canceled yet. So.
2 of us are white. Check yourself.
and kind of like some sprinkled Asians.
Yeah, I was about to say I'm half Oreo over here as well. Not even Oreo. I got Filipino background. Do we make a full Asian between the three of us, guys?
Yeah, I'm Filipino too. Woohoo! That means we got one full white person, one full Filipino person, and
I'm the token
Matt.
white dude. Yes.
Yes.
Odd Couple spins Matthew McConaughey also getting 8 points, but Scream Queen's not being able to pull a 2-point steal, which puts the overall match at a 5-point deficit going into round 3, which I think has only been accomplished a win past a 5-point deficit has only been accomplished once in the entirety of Schmoedown. Do you know who that person is?
Ready?
5-point deficit.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
No.
Cody Miller versus JTE.
Oh,
I
man.
remember that guy.
The only player to ever accomplish a 5-point deficit with a win, a 6 and 7-point, which you saw multiple times in the past couple of weeks, never being beaten. Which I think we should put Cody Miller on the Schmoedown Count Rushmore for being able to accomplish the feat.
That that's number 4.
He's an Olympian. Don't mock him. He's an Olympian champion.
Mm-hmm.
He beat down the great JTE.
Going into round 3, ended the match with a TKO. Let me just check here. Scream Queens only be able to pull off their 2-point question. Answered by Haley Fouch.
Shocker.
Okay, that always seemed like a strange thing to me. Like, there's no doubt Haley Fouch is the stronger player. Not being into Kaylin at all. Just she is. Giving her the 2-point question seems almost really stupid, especially considering the near insurmountable deficit they're sitting at.
Yeah, I definitely agree that there wasn't a good strategy set there ahead of time, and it could be a mix between ring rust because Scream Queens. I will get that name right eventually. Well, actually, no, I won't. They keep losing. I don't have to remember the name. The strategy was just at the window, and it could be a ring rust thing because they were having a good streak against just a couple of the newbie teams coming in for, I don't know, the first half of the season. Then Anarchy happened, and then they come back again. So could be rust, but I think even just looking at a glance, you just think, all right, Haley's clearly on fire for this match. Let her take the 3.
Yeah. So my only contribution was ring rust is probably a pretty clear thing. But since, as we saw, Snyder was the one, or at least as you said, Snyder was the one doing a lot of the carrying that match, and he did just come off of the Patriots and Schmoes.
Oh, yeah, Patriots Schmoes exhibition match, yeah.
And that's all I really have to say about this match. Again, I don't remember shit.
Yeah, I mean, the match really didn't stick out. It's kind of like I said. It was a singles match between Schneider and Fouch with occasionally assistance from Draco.
And it kind of didn't help that it was followed by arguably one of the best matches of all time.
Oh, yeah. It just completely got overshadowed by the Innergeekdom title match following it, and it was just a very by-the-books match. Everybody had Odd Couple going in. Odd Couple came in. Odd Couple played, beat them fair throughout the whole match.
And honestly, this just looks like a pretty well-played singles game as well. I mean, it's an end total of 19-16, which you'd see in, I think, above average matches. So what you're saying, Snyder versus Fouch, that could very well just be the end result of it. But because it is such a widely talked about match, we can move on to Rachel Cushing versus Mike Kalinowski.
Yeah.
Not the third?
It's the second?
I know that they've played against each other in singles as well.
Right, this is the second Innergeekdom. That's the third match total.
Yes.
4th match.
Is it 4th?
4, yeah. Because I remember Mike saying that in the post interview. They played in,
What other one?
I think, a couple Innergeekdom matches and the triple threat #1 contenders match with JTE.
Oh yeah,
Oh, yeah. No,
that
yeah, you're right.
JT's one. I remember. That was when Mike was like
Mike.
at his worst.
Yeah. Mike just was not. Mike played probably my usual match in the trivia Schmoedown.
And he pissed me the fuck off because I drafted him high in my fantasy league. Matt remembers.
Ooh, that hurts.
So, you know what two people I drafted in my fantasy league?
Cushing and Kalinowski.
Oh.
Yep. And just to give you an insight into what other players I have other than them: Clark Wolf, Robert Meyer Burnett, David Moore, and okay, this needs to be fixed. The
Andrew
Wildberries.
Jr.
Yeah.
Harrison got me jack shit. Cushing and Kalinowski single-handedly put me in first place.
Are you in first place? Are you kidding me? Oh my
Yep,
god.
with 88 points.
That doesn't surprise me one bit after that match.
Oh, Nat, you're barely in third place. Richard is actually in first place.
Yeah, I know. Richard.
Tomorrow.
What about Jack? Where's Jack?
Jack.
Jack. Jack ain't here, motherfucker. We made sure of that.
Yeah, James is in first place. It's bullshit.
But,
So the match.
Match.
yeah.
Oh,
Sorry.
match?
My brain is in fantasy mode now, and I'm just trying to get shit organized. So here's the actual stinger that mattered. Before the match started, we saw Andrew Guy and Ben Bateman sort of face off, and Emma Five stepped in and said, "Hey guys, how about we settle this in the ring? Because we were supposed to do that in the first place." With Burnett and Guy and Bateman and Finstock.
Yep.
Then Andrew whispered something to Emma. First of all, what do you think of the matchup and the setup? And then what do you think he said to her?
Wait, what? When did this happen?
It happened.
Did you know? Okay, yeah. So
I think they said it wasn't canon.
No.
okay, no. So
The reload.
Matt, here's what happened.
Yeah.
In the live stream, it was set to be Burnett's versus Finstock, I think.
Now, was it Burnett and Finstock, or was it a team match from that one too?
Shit. Well,
No, yeah, it was set to be a team match in the first one, and then I think the second time around, whenever they had to do the redub over it for the uploaded video, they make it seem as though it's going to be that same match.
but then Andrew whispers something.
Exactly. So my guess is we're gonna get a deal switcheroo in this match.
Well, again, so that's the question. What do you think he said to her?
In actuality, or were they gonna say that he said to her? Because I think that
What's he said?
the
The whole
popular
thing of just like what he actually whispered to her. It's like, I'm just trying to fill time, or whatever the fuck.
What was that movie about the guy that was whispering in the girl's ear? And
Lost in translation.
yeah, is this the Lost in Translation Schmoedown edition where we'll never find out? Or you think we're actually gonna get an answer?
100%. I think something's gonna happen. I just don't know what it is. If I had to guess, I'm gonna assume that they're gonna swap Burnett with McWeenie.
Oh
Do you
yeah.
think they would let McWeenie and Guy run against Finstock and Ben, or do you think that they're going to allow it to be a switch who's the boss, or do you just want to be this the build up? I think this is almost going to be one of those expendable matches where Guy switches, it's McWeenie, Guy versus Finstock and Bateman, and then the presumption is that Guy was going to win. The Guy seems going to win, and that's just going to feel that no, fuck that, we're going to run that back, and it's just going to be a series of run backs for I think the rest of the season. But if Bateman wins with Finstock,
Well,
that's where the story gets really wacky, because I don't know what possible options. They're just kind of run the situation anyway.
well, it's difficult because I understand what you're saying, but like this I think them swapping with McWeenie would fit within storylines, but telling Emma that won't work well unless she does have a heel turn.
Right. For her, yeah, I agree. For her to just go ahead and approve that right on the spot does seem a little suspect on Emma's side. That doesn't seem like something that lines up with her character unless they give a good explanation on why.
I saw a theory floating around that it's actually going to be a 3v3 match, which I don't see why they would keep that secret from Riley.
Right.
I still like the idea of having like a whole like series of matches about this, or maybe this is when Andrew reveals his secret teammate of JTE. I don't know, but it's pairing it with Emma just doesn't seem like it's going to work storyline wise.
Yeah, this one is kind of hard to tell at a glance. Like, I think my first gut instinct is just to say McQueenie comes in, they play the match as that. But honestly, I almost kind of want to see Burnett come in with a guy and just the match as it is. I would love to see who's the boss against whatever the team name of the Drews is going to be. But at the same time, that's just actually just a really solid match on stat. Like, just looking at this, I mean, I'm not looking at the direct stats, but I mean, Broadmeyer Net kind of lines up with Finstock in that same level in my head. I'd rather see a good even match than just a storyline match, you know?
But like, I get this faction needs a win because you're handed like the worst of two competitors on. Like, this isn't me being an asshole. This entire faction is getting led by basically the rejects. You have Andrew Guy, who I love him, but historically he is worse than Ben on the teams. You have McWeenie, who was very clearly worse than Sam Levine. And you have Burnett, which, whether or not he was better than John Schnepp, I don't know personally. The second he joined Patriots, he lost the championship in Innergeekdom. He didn't do well with Team Heroes, and then just got his shit pushed in constantly. Mostly with John Schnepp, who's automatically a loser. They need something for this faction to do well. So fucking around with like rules and legality and swapping teammates might be the thing to get them seriously recognized.
What are the odds that Robert Meyer Burnett just burns Emma Fife in the next episode and he becomes the commissioner?
Jesus Christ.
Let's just take this all the way up the scale. I'm thinking of every possible situation, guys. Too dark?
Speaking of a horror match, you can just go right into this shit and just like, so what happened to Emma Fife? Oh, she burned alive.
I mean, it wouldn't be the first time they've removed Emma from the show. They've just locked her in a closet before, so maybe they do something in that vein. Like lighting her on fire.
Doesn't really balance out.
They haven't faked anyone's death yet as a storyline yet.
It's only a matter of time for it to do that because they did that in WWE.
I know, that's what I'm saying. When is telling you the wedding's gonna happen soon?
Oh yeah, definitely.
They sort of faked Dan Murrell's death, I guess, right? I mean,
yeah, Dan Murrell died. Guy killed him, brought him back, and killed him again.
Now, who's to say that the ghost of Dan Murrell and then the future ghost of Emma Fife don't team up on a team? Then they can work with the Scream Queens, who could be like the seancers and shit, and have the ultimate faction of human and parahuman.
This is getting out of hand.
First of all, if you can hire all of us as writers, we will do this for free.
I work for peanuts. Literally, me and peanuts, and I will be happy.
It's incredibly cheap effects. You just literally light a fire in California. Turns out, going on all the time. Just use live footage at any point in any place in California. You'll be okay.
All right. Also, before we move on to the actual match itself, I'm going to point out in the notes, I put, rather than guy and Bateman, I put Dad's fight. So I'm still repping Bateman, but you know, I felt the fucking traitor. In round one, Mike Kalinowski and Rachel Cushing. Rachel got 11 out of a possible 10 points. The player to have 3 or more than one perfect round in Innergeekdom. But not even just 2. She has a 3rd one now.
Yep, I think they said on the rundown that it's her 3rd.
The 2nd was against Eric Zipper in which she pitched a perfect game.
And then
but it was just somewhere in there.
Makia McCarthy was that the 3rd one, right?
Yeah, McCarty.
McCarty.
Mike Kalinowski did a good job. He got 8 points as well.
Right.
He hovers around the 8 to 9 point range, which is pretty good for him. It should be better, but you know what? None of us can do better.
I got 5 points on that first round, I think. I was feeling good at 5 too. So, that's why Mike's where he's at and I'm right here.
Actually, do I still have my my playing along shit? I do. I got 4. Yeah. But speaking of but on the idea of doing well, moving on to round 2, Mike spins DCEU, in which I got 6 points. Thank you very much. He gets 7, but Rachel steals 2. And this is about the point where it starts looking pretty grim for him. After that 2-point steal, Rachel spins Star Trek and gets a perfect round 2, which is also something she's common to doing, but most other players don't have nearly the amount of perfect she does, with a total of 24 to 15. How did you guys feel when this was going down?
I thought it was done.
I wasn't watching live, so I kind of knew it would go from what people were saying. But I mean, I was still really worried.
Oh yeah, I definitely thought it was lights out. It was just going to go into that 4th round, and it's not like Rachel's a slouch in the speed round at all. I mean, she's gone in there and played multiple championships matches at this point, literally across every single league except for Star Wars. But I mean, say what you will, Mike came in there and he crushed that round. Yeah, between the bidding round, which just did that big enough swing. I think he needed that confidence boost, and he just did not let a question finish. Kind of in this, how they said in the rundown, it was just hit the button, hit the button, hit the button, and damn if he didn't bring it back.
It's not like Rachel has a lot of experience in those rounds. She's a champion, so she knows what she's doing. And the fact that Mike did that against her is really impressive to me.
And I haven't seen this kind of like anger or drive from Mike in a while. Like going back to like when we first really saw it was in the Action versus DC Movie News match, and then it's just I feel like over time he's been progressively getting more and more determined, and this is where we've seen peak vein popping out of forehead Mike Kalinowski, and that all really like came to a head in the 3rd round. Got DCEU. Rachel bet 3 points. Mike bet 2, which seemed really strange.
Yeah.
Mike got it right. Rachel got it wrong. Which was really the point where if I was Rachel, I would be shitting myself because that's a 5-point differential she just lost.
I think that what makes this match so impressive, not just the recency bias to it, is just everything behind the scenes in the match. Like you have to think in that situation, Rachel's ahead by so much, and then for her to see that drop and then just to get that close again, and to get railed out of the speed round just by Mike going in and just taking every single question, and to go in tied after having that 8-point deficit. The fact that she held her composure into that 5th round is astounding, and the fact that Mike was able to keep that whole just momentum from that round 3 to round 5, equally amazing. Like that willpower is insane. I think that's what makes this match so magnetic, not just the fact that they're just nailing questions.
Yeah, and like we can talk about it in a bit, but like just going on to what you were talking about, this idea of like just constantly going back and forth. Earlier this season, we saw Dan Morrow versus Ethan Irwin, which many consider one of the greatest matches of all time. That's a very different one from what people are calling this as the greatest match of all time. Because rather than it just be a constant like leg up, maybe a point here, a point there, it was just going back and forth, back and forth. It was unpredictable what was going to happen in the next round.
I'm almost scared by the power levels of the league right now. Like,
yeah.
At this point, I just don't see any title matches not being this intense across any of the leagues, short of maybe Star Wars. Because with Erwin in here and Rachel possibly going for a triple contention if she even gets that, or McQueenie, any of the players who are roundabout near the top of close to the belt in any of the leagues. All those matches, I see that just being a potential. It's going to come down to the last question.
It's almost disheartening because as someone who wants to get involved in all these leagues and communities, it's hard to just sit there and think, huh, if I don't pitch a perfect game, I can't do shit here.
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm going to try and pull up the stats if I can find them. I'll look at that, I can't because, damn it, Janish. I think Rachel's overall accuracy in general is like a 90%.
I think it was 90 or 92? 92 in Innergeekdom?
Yeah. And that's point per event, whatever, multiple choice, betting round, this whole different thing. But you compare that because a 92% average, Shire Wolves are a 90% average. Mm-hmm. Dan Merle is at like an 89% average, and Alex Damon is I think like another 95% average. Does anyone beat them? Like, I wouldn't be surprised if, like, cut to Chicago. Who's the boss wins? They're gonna win. I didn't choose them. I promise, not gonna win. After that teams match, I genuinely don't think the belts will change the entire year. Because what's the guy's Sam Whitwer is out of Star Wars League. I'm pretty sure that's been confirmed.
Yep.
I don't think anyone can seriously challenge Dan Merle unless Bibiani set the shit up because he knows probably the most of any competitor. Probably keep the game the best. Like Star Wars belt isn't gonna change. Innergeekdom is fucking staying where it is unless Mike pulls a serious like turnaround.
Or that Kevin guy.
Oh, Smets?
Smets.
Yeah.
We've only seen like one match from him.
Yeah, but he had a good
serious contender. That's also in the easiest set of questions. I don't have my scorecard from that match. I did fairly well as well. There's a lower like bar for what competitors can do in there. I'm waiting. Like it's the same thing as like why I was hesitant to give Mara a bunch of praise. Beginning doesn't really matter because the questions are at a different level of difficulty. It's until you get to those high levels of play and you start getting more of a feel of the game that you know how much a competitor can actually contribute to the overall game. But still, I don't think these belts are changing now.
I think the only thing that goes into challenging the belts is the fact that Rachel holds 2 of them. And for her to keep both her Innergeekdom knowledge and her team knowledge at just such a championship level, and like whatever, that's probably already in her brain at any given point, but being able to recall it time and time again, I would say that's the only thing that we're going to see is either going to be an Innergeekdom switch or a team switch, just because Rachel is just overwhelmed by how much stuff is going on.
Well, I wholly believe in her abilities to do that. The issues arise when you come to like Collision or Spectacular, where she has to defend both belts at the same time.
Right. That's how I see the belts changing.
Yeah, unless you spin Lord of the Rings on the wheel and teams match, shit ain't gonna change.
Nope. I think there's a point for Merle, though. Merle and Star Wars, I would make the argument that those are the ones I actually expect the belts to switch the most, less so with Star Wolves than Merle, just because Merle's shown that you can get in his head. Like, the match with Guy, you could tell it was such a psychological match. All that aside from Guy just having the match of his life. The
still 50% game.
Yeah, no, it was the shit talk, and Merle even admits himself that he was just so much of that match, he was bothered, and he was getting back into the game, and a lot of that component was what messed him up. So I think that is it strange for me to say that of all the single belt being changed, the chances aren't really going to come down to knowledge. It's going to come down to who's going to be getting to each other's head the best. Like, does a heel have the best chance of stealing the singles belt from Merle in that way?
Well, not even just Merle. I think Alex Damon. I think I can't think of the word. I think Alex Damon is going to hold on to his belt the longest.
Oh yeah, he's bulletproof. I don't see that changing, even with his wife participating in the Fatal 5-Way at Celebration.
Yeah, they can quiz each other and how to beat each other.
Mm-hmm.
And then you look at like Rachel Cushing, we know she can be shaken. Cut to the live event last July. She was shaking 100%. You were able to get in her head fairly easily. Not even easily, just she dealt with a lot of anxiety. And that's nothing against her. It's just she's easier to scare.
Right.
And as you said, Dan Murrell can be shaken by Andrew Guy. Only issue is there's no serious competitive heels that I think can do that currently. I think Andrew Guy is the only person truly dangerous in this.
Yeah, I think the only thing that even comes close is Snyder and Teams.
But even then, Snyder's trying to be a face now for whatever fucking reason.
I don't buy it, dude. Snyder is not a face in any universe.
Like, I think Guy and McWeeny, they have I wouldn't say they have a shot at getting the belts, but they have a shot of skyrocketing through the league with their shit talk alone. Because I mean, we saw what McWeeny did in Teams. We saw even just with Take Cannoli, he beat a team only just by tying the team points record of all time.
And I think that so much of that comes down to Sam Levine's knowledge, but then the other part of that was look at the character that Guy brings. It's very similar to what Sam Levine brought. You got the mouthpiece, the one who actually can back their knowledge, but sit there and get into the players' heads that entire time. And McWeeny, I think if he just stays cool, collected, and keeps it across the board, Guy's just going to sit there and just rail him, and it's just going to get him off their game. That's all McWeeny really needed. That's what it needed for above the line.
Yeah. Look back to summer of last season where McWeeny was trying to have his singles title shot going through, and he really brought forth that Godfather persona. Pairing that with Andrew Guy is what will destroy any teams who are not standing their ground. And I'm just realizing how much we've actually talked about everything else but the matches.
So Cushing and Kalinowski, right.
Cut to the buzzer round. I think Mike got 4 points and then lost one of them.
Yeah, almost perfect.
Yep. He lost the Bilbo question.
Yeah, which I was like you were talking about earlier, Dylan. I was listening to the rundown earlier and saying the only reason he got it wrong was a 50-50 shot. If he guessed Martin Freeman, he'd be championship.
He'd still be champion.
Yeah. Jesus Christ, I cannot English today. There's so many little moments in this match where if he had done anything slightly differently, if he had challenged the question in round one, which I probably would have given him, if he had gotten one more, what's it called? If he had gotten a multiple choice question rather than getting the 2 points to Rachel, if he had gotten one letter differently, we would have
3 points in the betting round. If he just bet 3 points instead of 2 in the betting round.
Yeah, exactly. This man is this close to being champion.
Mike loses that match 4 times in a row just by playing the game bad, by playing it worse than he did. If he played it just a little bit better, he's still champ.
And this is honestly, if the league just becomes those two fighting, I'm fine. But this match is just I psych myself into loving it more and more with how seriously close it is. But it's just so fucking it's almost unfathomable to me to realize what happened.
What, Rachel getting both belts or Mike losing?
Mike losing. It's I think the closest thing I could compare it to is maybe you're auditioning for a singing competition and the only reason you lose is because your father forgot to call in and give you a vote. American Idol, the only reason fucking what's his face won, I forgot his name. Some irrelevant dude who destroyed the competition, the only reason he won was because the other girl, her family forgot to call in and vote for her because they were busy or whatever. This man, fucking Mike Kalinowski, was literally a letter away from still being champion.
Which is almost crazy to think because the vibe going into the match, even with Mike being champion, it still felt like he was the underdog to Rachel because it's just hard not to be an underdog when your opponent is Rachel Cushing. At least that's how it felt on the Facebook page with everything else. I was all for Mike on it, but she just had so much steam.
Well,
Yeah,
match against Habon, underdog.
the page
Donica,
loves
underdog.
Rachel, though. The page loves Rachel, though, so.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, you can't really. It's pretty biased, so can't really count that. But I mean, Mike was the underdog pretty much. I mean, everyone knows that I'm a huge Mike fan. I really believe that he would win because I know how much he cares about him. I know how much he studies, and to see him lose this way is just heartbreaking for me. But I mean, playing against Rachel Cushing, it's nothing to hang your head over. She's arguably the best Innergeekdom player there is. So.
Yeah, I think like she's very much in GOAT contention. I'm gonna say Guy until I die, like ride or die. It's like joke or not. I think he's like I'm gonna say it. I think with this match, she has taken the title from Sam Levine of the greatest of all time. Not only being a double belt holder, but across 3 leagues, not only remaining in the top 10 consistently, but also carrying one of the highest accuracy rates of all time of any league. On top of that, being a serious championship contender.
And also Christian's daughter in the after show.
Yeah, I was gonna get into that, but we pretty much talked about the rest of the match. Round 5, they each get a perfect 10 points, going to sudden death. They ask a question about The Last Jedi, which is almost sort of ironic. That's the movie to sink the ship.
But that movie needed worse press.
See, what's the question? What is the name of the ship Holdo commanded in The Last Jedi?
Mike says Ninko. Rachel says Ninka, right?
Cruiser Ninko. Rachel says Cruiser Ninka. Oh my god.
It hurts.
Intense. And I forgot when, but this is like a similar thing that's happened before, where you are like skin of your teeth victory, and Rachel can't believe it.
Yeah, Rachel didn't really like even her reaction after the match. You can tell that doesn't even hit her face until like 20, 30 seconds after the match has already been wrapped. She's hugged Clark and she sits there and she sees the belt, and then it's just her face drops in this most genuine way.
Yeah, like when Above the Line did the Iron Man match against Patriots, like Sam freaking out, the Queen is there just like, oh yeah. And like this story, like not this story, this podcast has shown that none of us are too big of fans of the whole Fight Club stuff. Rachel getting this Innergeekdom belt has made me realize how much I fucking loved her before all that happened. Like
there was no losers in this match. Like I think that's the biggest takeaway from this whole thing. Fans, Mike, Rachel, there's no losers in this match. It's that good.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think even though Mike lost, his stock went up because he's everyone that he needs to be at the highest.
Yeah.
Even though he's champion.
And once again, this is one of the best matches of his career, and he lost.
By
like, yeah, this goes to prove just how dominant a competitor Mike can be when he's not put up against champions.
And he actually studies like on his page, like he works for it.
Like I think he's probably the hardest working competitor out of all of them, other than maybe Bateman, but I haven't heard as much about him.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I mean he's constantly on the corruption page, asking people to quiz him. Like,
and his girlfriend like and shit. What's her name? Sharon.
Well, like and Rachel did the same thing on multiple pages. I know her sister also tries to go forth in doing that, but I don't hear about like. Because listening to the rundown, interacting with Andrew and Ben, and just being active on this Schmoedown Facebook page, I hear so much about what Mike does, pacing around the studio, even when he's not competing, still has that binder and constantly reviewing. I hear nothing even close to that with anyone else. That man, he deserves the title without a doubt, and it sucks he had to lose this way, but that does not speak to his abilities at all. I think he's in contention for the best Innergeekdom player of all time, which is only sort of hampered by the fact that he played really shitty in the beginning.
I would say seeing that he played so shitty in the beginning, though, showed just how much growth he's had since then. I would rather see somebody come in and do okay and then bottom out, and then you see what their level is, and then see where they are. Because when you have characters like Smets or Mara, they came in and they just well, Smets only has one match, so I can't really compare. But Mara came in and it was just win. So she was always a very top tier competitor. But seeing Mike be bottomed out and then see him make it to championship, beating Mara.
Yeah, well, it's like Smets said on the Facebook page somewhere. He auditioned initially for the Schmoedown through the Patreon, like $400, however the fuck much it is, and he barely got any questions right, like single-digit number of questions correct. And I think over the next few days, I think he said he was going to release that video online, which I fucking doubt's gonna happen. But if it does, I think him and Kalinowski is gonna be like a very much a destined match because he has the same thing of just going nowhere, and through the hardest fucking studying that we can't even imagine, becoming almost perfect. I don't know. I'm more so excited now. Like, matches like this sort of rejuvenate my belief in the Schmoedown. Like, after Who's the Boss lost, I was just like, fuck it. I can't continue with this anymore. I don't know what I'm going to do if a former singles champion can't elevate one of our boys to a title shot. I don't know what's going to happen.
One of our former boys. Don't give him that credit.
And then just starting off with Janine and Chance, and Dan and Erwin, and then Mike and Rachel. I think I have a few friends like this. For any people who like aren't sure about if the Schmoedown is worth it, this season is the perfect place to start because of how fucking perfect the way this season has begun.
I
Funny.
agree.
Yeah.
Yep. 100%.
And it's funny because like this was the time that we were all worried about it because how the delays of the YouTube were going to go to public with Patreon, and we were thinking this was like dead, like in the water, like he was ruining the Schmoedown with that whole idea. But we've actually gotten like these really good matches out of it, and it seems that everyone kind of is happy in the end, kind of thing. Like everyone has gotten kind of like the Patreons get their early access, and then everyone else, they still get a chance to see really good matches. And everyone's been pretty cool about like not spoiling anything. Because I think that was like everyone's biggest concern in the beginning of the season was like, if everyone's gonna get all this access to this, and then the people who decide to just watch it for free, like it's gonna like spoil matches. Like especially like a match as big as like the Mike and Rachel match. Like imagine if like, you know, I mean, it's gonna slip through, but like for the most part, it was kind of kept a secret. Like for everyone who saw the Throwdown earlier, and then as opposed to everyone who saw it public view.
Yeah, I mean, I've been really critical of the way they're doing the Patreon and past. I still am to an extent, but I mean, they're putting out great matches, they're killing it. So I mean, I can't be too mad. But yeah, I mean, the season has been great. I think it's the best start of the season we've ever had.
Yeah, and I think that this is the season that needed to be. Like, all things considered, this is the riskiest season yet, with so much of a push being into Patreon and stuff like that. Like, I couldn't be happier that the season has been as stellar as it has. All the rookies have been exciting to watch. All the matches starting from live event into live event. Guys, we're only just getting into March, and it just feels like it's been a roller coaster season already.
Oh, yeah.
The only thing that's been missing is Andrew Guy, taking all 3 belts, being the first triple champion. It's coming, boys.
Like, you know, walk into Star Wars and just be like, just walk up, Alex Damon, fucking give me the belt, you nerd.
He mugs him for the 4th one. Robert Ryan Burnett lights Star Wars Celebration Chicago on fire. Did that happen already?
No, he can come with the whole like a Poe outfit. It would be like, we are the light that will burn the Star Wars League to the ground. And Alex Damon's like, oh, that's a good reference. Wait, why am I on fire? And
oh my god, that's terrible.
let's wrap this up because we've been very non sequitur and we have something else to do after this.
Yeah.
Is there anything else you guys would like to contribute to the discussion?
I mean, I think it's crazy to think about that. Rachel has the best chance out of anyone to be a Grand Slam champion. She could easily be a champion. That's crazy to think about. Like, I don't think anyone else has even come close.
No, I agree. I was thinking about that today, and I was just like, she's got the hardest part down. Like, getting the Innergeekdom belt is going to be way more difficult because teams and singles really comes off the same knowledge base. You could go interchangeable, study for that, and you're getting both of those. But Innergeekdom, you have to go so deep into those niche geekdom movies for her to sit there and then get that belt. She's the best chance of being a triple champion.
Yeah, I think in a way the singles league and the teams league is not broader, like the amount of knowledge you have. But Innergeekdom is like you need to have like really, really specific knowledge. And I think it's like the toughest division outside of Star Wars, I think.
I just not making noise, otherwise the feed cuts back to me, and I try not to, and I just end up looking at it.
I wanted to come back and just see you just either shirtless or in the middle of eating something. Just catch those.
Oh my god. I'm not sure if you guys are going to the Chicago thing, but I will be like live streaming that, and I'll try to like film my reaction. Because if they get that like #1 contender shot, I will be losing my shit. I won't go full Chris Clark. Unless maybe Andrew wins the belt, then I might fuck myself over. But for now, okay, so final note before we sign off. Maybe it's just me, but it seems almost suspicious that Christian's been pushing for the free-for-all to be like filled really hard. What do you guys see going down there, if anything?
I think there's something narratively happens. Like I want to say that there's either it's going to be a reveal of an entirely sweet new player that we've been trying to get for a long time, or a storyline comes off of the free for all. But I wouldn't even know where to begin what that is. Something's happening now.
Like come back to last year, we had Andrew Guy killing Dan Murrell, which Kevin Echo, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. So, like last year, you have that, which was actually sort of improvised because Dan was supposed to make his return then, but then didn't. So Andrew Guy came in, stepped up, the whole storyline, got him back at the LA Live event against Shirewolves. They have to top that. That's the point. That's why they're doing it live and anything. Like, what could top Andrew Guy killing Dan Murrell?
Kevin Smith.
Kevin Smith. That's exactly what I was thinking. The same thing.
Shit. Oh, that'd be awesome. Ooh, and then he's the one to like bring balance to Innergeekdom to challenge Rachel Cushing.
If Kevin Smith played in Innergeekdom, take all my money. Like I'm already $10 into Patreon. I just upped Action Movie Anatomy. Like I might just cut my whole action and just go all like $50 in for Kevin Smith in Innergeekdom for a couple months.
Yeah, just fly into LA, barge into the studio. Just I need to watch this.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and he needs to make he's gonna be rebooting the Clark
James
Silent Bob. So.
Oh yeah, James Silent Bob 3.
Yeah, I think this is the time we'll see JTE return. And much big enough reveal, but this could be the bit where we see him sort of choose a faction, because corruption is also sort of starting to steal the heels. I'm wondering if JTE is gonna like choose between the two of them.
I think JTE makes the most sense in corruption at this point, just because Stacy needs such a strong partner. For a long time, I was saying it was going to be Guy and JTE, but then they matched up McLeany, which I'm not upset about at all. But I mean, yeah, it just makes the most sense. There's one person without a partner.
But at the same time, like, I don't want that to happen.
Or Clark becomes a traitor and she becomes a heel or something.
Oh,
again,
I would fucking
if Shirewolves break up, I think Clark would become heel. It would be fucking amazing.
Clark and would it be Clark and Stacy then? Would she go corruption?
Yeah.
Mhm.
I fuck with that.
I think I don't know, just something I mentioned this when I was on last. I think having two redheads together would provide for a lot of fun.
Mhm.
She could be Andrew's teammate because they were supposed to be
Yeah.
with him until he started
Yeah,
filming.
remember, like there was like a little scene of Andrew like asking her out or something, or
Oh
something
yeah,
like that.
Andrew was making moves on Clark.
And
in
then like all of a sudden,
credits.
like he's revealed to be part of the Jew team, the Jew squad.
Yeah. Well, I mean, also on top of that, you saw Justin Square on the Facebook page had a whole post about like what was Andrew Guy saying to Emma, and all of it's just A Star Is Born memes. So I think that's on everyone.
I'm just so ready for Monday. I'm so ready for tomorrow just to see what's going on with that. I'm ready for the action storylines to be back again.
Is the match tomorrow?
I think so. If I recall right, they said that the match that's revealed at the beginning of the Patreon is going to be the match that's set for tomorrow. Let me check Trivia SD, but my assumption was
I'm doing it too.
it was going to be the Bateman Guy matchup.
Oh shit, it's not updated. Damn it.
Because Christian kept saying that the match that they discussed, yeah, in the team's preview, it's on the face page. It's Ben and Dagnito against Guy and Burnett. Oh my god!
Oh
So that's
shit. Okay, it's gonna be a fun
get
episode.
hyped, boys.
Oh my god, means I actually have to bring all my recording shit with me. Great. All right. So this will be like the final little wrap up then, because after this, keep an eye out for later in the week. We're gonna be putting out our top 5 last 5, which hasn't happened in 3 months. Yay.
Yeah.
Get to do my first
Return of
top
Cup.
five. I love that. Right? This it?
Last 5. We should promo this thing.
Hey guys, I'm Roka. Am I doing this right?
Yeah.
Well, you do it like this because you can't see either.
Yeah.
Probably
Before
we need to.
Sorry, I'm Roka. There's only like 2 to 3 horsemen right
the this many horses.
now.
Again, before we start plugging social medias, I do want to go out of the way and mention Action Industries. Loyal viewer Andrew wanted us to mention it, and as someone who works on it, I thought I'd want to just share with you guys the whole progress we've been making. For those of you who don't know, for whatever reason, Andrew and Ben wanted to step aside and sort of share, like unite the brand into something more unified. Have the sort of outreach possible. Create a team who can work on getting the Action brand larger, get them more possibilities. Within 2 weeks of it being sort of created, we've had 77 people following the new Action Industries page, as well as I think like 800 individual interactions, which in 2 weeks is just fucking amazing. And as someone who works on it, has decent. I'm not gonna give my position, but I'm working for and with a lot of people, and it couldn't make me happier seeing what everyone is doing within their own jobs, and seeing what the page has done within the many communities that Ben and Andrew are involved in. So this is mostly just like a call to action, no pun intended, for you guys to go to the page, to follow it, to share the articles, and just to thank the team who's working on it, because just being behind the scenes, everyone's putting a lot of effort into this, and even the small recognition of saying, "Oh, those title cards are nice," or "Thank you for getting everything out consistently," makes the team go a long way. I know Ben and Andrew are very thankful, but most of all, I know the team is very thankful for just having our work be recognized on something for people that we truly care about. That's it. So this is the signing off for the episode. Everyone plug your social medias.
You can find me at Miss Marvel. Facebook.com/Miss Marvel.
And then you can find me on Twitter at DKPKP. Also on Instagram at Danny_K22. Also,
You-
if you're interested in music, you'll find me. My tournament is live tomorrow, so if you're interested in seeing me compete, it's not movie trivia, but it's music trivia. So check out Jukebox Trivia.
Yeah, and you're undefeated, aren't you?
Mm-hmm. You can catch me on over on Facebook. I just posted recently in the Action Army my fist bump moment over the Fight Club. You can also catch me on Twitter tweeting about my wife sleeping, the wacky things that she says. You can catch me at Camacho, Camacho, to Octopus. Just one O. That's going to be a weird spelling. If you can find me, more power to you. I don't tweet often, but those are my plugs.
And here's where I just learned how to talk. You can follow me on Twitter at Temecula Film Guy. There's at TEMECULA Film Guy. You can find Andrew Guy on Twitter at Andrew Guy. You can find at Ben Bateman Media for Ben Bateman. Also follow on Instagram at the same handles. Don't forget to follow Action Industries on Facebook, as well as the All About Action fan page where we talk about action movie anatomy and the Action Guys on Collider every Friday. Click there. Follow their Patreon and for the full video and the podcast feed for the full episode, no video. And don't forget to support the Team Action Patreon. Like I said, there's a lot of new stuff coming in because of, part of the Action Industries is revamping Patreon, getting more stuff done. So keep an eye on that for new step ups there. And I think that's it. I probably missed something. If I did, just check the description below with a lot more social medias. And that's it. Signing off, and don't forget to check back in later in the week when we post our top 5 last 5 of February for 2019. Peace out, motherfuckers.
See you later, assholes.
Bye.
Peace.